Good morning. It's your lawyer's favorite lawyer, Jimmy Morris, coming to you live with Motivational Monday. Um, I have a real good subject for you this morning. It's something I have been pondering over for at least a week because I have these, and I'll tell you. Sometimes you have to listen to other people's stories so that you can see that you're on the right path, or you can see that you are doing certain things. And so I listen to a lot of stories, and I talk to a lot of people. And one of the things that I understand when I hear these stories and I talk to these people is that most of the things that they did was not based on their skills. Most of the things they did was based upon their phenomenal will. So let me say this. I dedicated this to Christopher Mercer. Christopher Mercer was one of the first black people admitted, not the first, but one of the first admitted to the University of Arkansas School of Law. And I dedicated to all six of them, but Chris Mercer is especially special to me for at least two reasons. One, I actually had a personal relationship with him, and two, he was a frat brother of mine, and so coming out of this weekend, it only seemed right. The subject is, they won't let me be great. I hear this phrase from young people all the time, and it blows my mind because they are under the belief that somebody's going to give you greatness. They won't let me be great. They won't let me be great. They'll do it anyway. So I want to tell you a couple of stories. Number one, I've hinted around this story, and I actually told it over at Lisa Academy. And some of you have known Dr. Booth for a while, so you've heard the story before. I'm going to give you an abbreviated form of it, but I really want you to hear this story. Dr. Dexter Booth was one of the first group of individuals after Little Rock 9, after things started getting settled, to integrate, I believe, Parkview. I mean, it wasn't a forced integration with the National Guard. It was some of the kids went over, and he was one of that group. And so he spent years over at Parkview, never saw his guidance counselor. And when he finally saw his guidance counselor, he talked to her a few days before, or maybe a few weeks before graduation, and she told him he had a 1 in 10 chance. 1 in 10. Meaning 9 out of 10 times he would fail. 1 in 10 chance of graduating college. And he probably would be better off getting a job as a street sweeper or a day laborer for his skill sets. Little known to the counselor, he had already been accepted to Philander Smith College. Now, at this time when Dr. Booth was told this particular statement, he didn't know what he wanted to major in. He just knew he was going to college. He made up his mind at that moment he was going into education. Now, let me say this to you. A lot of us experience pain. A lot of us experience adversity. And how we handle adversity and how we deal with adversity kind of determines how great we're going to be. Some of us merely want to be great for ourselves. And a lot of times you're not going to be great because you're only doing it for yourself. You're not doing it for your children. You're not doing it for the next generation. You're not doing it for people that look like you. You're not doing it for the people that are similarly situated. You hustling for yourself. And that selfish hustling and that selfish getting up doing it is not going to get you down the road that you need to be to. You might be moderately successful, but when you start hustling and helping other people, I'm telling you, your greatness is going to expound. So let me tell you this. Dr. Booth did not know at the time what his major was going to be, but when he heard this person who was telling students like him that they couldn't be successful, he knew right then he was going into education. and he went and got his undergraduate degree. He went and got his master's degree. He went and got his doctoral degree. And those of you who know Dr. Booth, he's been in the Little Rock school system for going on some odd 30 years, still over at Parkview today. So that counselor would not let him be great, would not tell him, would not even give him an opportunity. Did it anyway. He let that what she told him he couldn't be his motivation to be just that, successful. Now, had she not said that, had she been complimentary, had she told him, he may not have been the man that went into education and has shaped all the lives of these young people that he did along the way. Now, I didn't go to Parkview. I tried to get in, couldn't get in. But even as a almost 40-year-old man, he still shaped my life in telling me that story, because it had an influence and an impact on me, and now I share with you, all 5,000 of you, and then whoever's watching on Motivational Monday. So that story, just by doing that story, has spread to others. Hopefully it has an impact on their lives and your lives as well. Second person I want to talk about is Attorney John Walker. Now, a lot of you know that I started my practice in Attorney John Walker's office, so I got a chance to hear a lot about him. And I didn't hear it, in most cases, from him. He didn't walk around telling you how great he was. He just did it, and then people told me some of the great things he did. Now, here, I'll tell you this. Because when you go out and you get up and every day you want to help somebody, you help people. And you forget that you help people. And I was at my Q picnic, and I heard at least 3 times that I saved somebody's life. And I tell you, honestly, I cannot remember their case. But the deal is, I get up every day trying to save all my clients. And so the issue is, I don't have to remember the case. I just got to remember to go do the thing that I'm dedicated to do. And I think Mr. Walker is like that too. Mr. Walker gets up and he tries to help people. But let me tell you a little bit about his story. John Walker did not go to college to be a lawyer. He didn't want to be a lawyer. He wanted to be an engineer. He had very good grades, and he was admitted into the University of Texas. And then he went down there. Now, John Walker, if you don't know him and you don't have a race bubble checked, and you don't know him, you know Johnny Walker the Scotch is Scottish, so you think he's some Scottish guy. You know, you're expecting him to walk in with the accent and the beard, and he walks in and he's this skinny black kid. At that point, they de-admitted him, put him out of the University of Texas. He ended up at the University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff. From there, he became a lawyer, and he went to Yale Law School, Yale. That means he could have worked on Wall Street. He could have stayed in New York. He could have went with his classmates who were a little bit more liberal. But no, he decided to get up, come back to Arkansas, and start a practice here in civil rights, because he wanted to make an impact, and he wanted to make sure that what he experienced with being de-admitted, very few people would feel that. And so he took up some of the strongest integration and desegregation cases here in Arkansas, based on his educational opportunity being denied at Texas. Had Texas let him in, he would have been an engineer. However, since Texas de-admitted him, and I sent the University of Texas a letter thanking them for de-admitting him, because if he had not, we would not have had the John Walker we have today. Now, why do I tell you all of this? Because each of us, in what we do, we stand on the shoulders of a foundation laid by somebody else. I have a picture. It's a split screen picture. And in one, it's this old picture of a midget or a dwarf standing on the shoulder of a giant. And then I have a picture with me and some of the greats, John Walker, Richard Mays, great lawyers, C.C. Mercer, to remind me that no matter how great I become, I'm still that dwarf standing on the shoulder of these giants, because I could not do what I do today if it wasn't for those men who laid a foundation. So I never want to forget that I'm here because somebody else took the hard hit and broke down the barrier and broke down the wall so I could be here. So I never want to forget that. We all stand on the shoulders of giants. Now, here's the deal. I want you to think about this, because somebody went through something to get you where you are today. And do you take that opportunity seriously, or do you, sit around and talk about somebody not letting you be great? Somebody made a sacrifice. Somebody decided they weren't going to be this or that because they wanted to pay for you to do this or that. Somebody took a hit. Brother Mercer told me one day that he was not as successful as he could be because he was the first, but he's glad that those of us that came behind him are successful and didn't have to take the brunt of the hit. He also told me I should get up earlier in the morning to get it. And I tell you, he never beat me to the courtroom after that. I'm going to tell you this. Why do we think it's easy? Why do we think that people give out greatness? We think that people give out greatness is because in the situation of being great, people make it look easy. If you ever read the 48 Laws of Power, one of the laws is make it look easy, make it look effortless. So people believe that getting to a good place or getting to greatness is easy. It ain't easy. Most people that you talk to, when they talk about how they got to where they are, you'll hear about sleepless nights. You'll hear about them missing meals. You'll hear about them not making any money, just wanted the opportunity, just wanted to be in the spot. So here's what I want you to understand. Nobody's going to give you greatness. Nobody's going to just hand it to you. Here you go. Be great. But what people are going to do is they're going to give you an opportunity, or they're going to give you motivation by hating on you. And I want you to take that motivation, and I want you to say in your mind, they ain't going to let me be great, but damn it, I'm going to do it anyway. And so for this morning, I want you to remember, we're standing on the shoulders of giants. We've been bred for greatness. We have barriers that are broken down so you can be great, but nobody's going to let you be great. You got to do it anyway. You got to take it. It's like James Brown said, you don't have to give me nothing. Just open a door and I'll get it myself. And you got to have that attitude and that mentality. Don't give me a handout. Give me an opportunity and I'll turn it into what I need it to be. Thank you for listening. May God bless you. It's your lawyer's favorite lawyer, Jimmy Morris. I'll see you next week.